today's cup of coffee, youngest kid has, I don't know, he's got a variety of weirdness over here, including the baby doll hands.
The little baby hands.
Which he is using to apply lotion. God, that's disturbing. We've actually had, don't touch me with that thing. Ew. We have actually had some really disturbing stuff lately.
Yeah,
and
that
it's
fits with the theme.
Well, yeah, it is our theme. But this has not come from some of our usual sources.
It's all over it.
Part of what it has come from is just regular news outlets.
Mm-hmm. Which we don't usually follow mainstream ones.
But some of the stories are so bizarre. But now, honestly, what got me to doing that was Mysterious Universe sometimes uses regular sources. You just have to look for them.
Yeah.
And some of the things that's going on in today's world are some of the things that are, for the grammar police, are more disturbing than anything that you can find on some of the specifically paranormal and supernatural websites.
Mm.
So that's how our world, there's no separation on it anyhow.
No.
But what is the odor? Is that lavender?
I think so.
Oh God, you put lavender on me. Anyhow.
It says glycerin hand cream, dry hand relief.
It's lavender. I will fall asleep before the end of the video. Hopefully not.
Oh my God, there is lavender.
I knew there was lavender in it. Anyhow. So that's what's going on with some of the not specific things from the paranormal websites and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd say some of them are getting their stuff from some of the same sources that we are.
Probably. There's also royal jelly powder in here.
Oh, okay. Bee products.
Seed oil.
Okay.
Fruit oil.
Apparently he didn't take his medicine today.
Something extract. Yes.
Okay. Anyhow, I'm trying to be serious and he's not. Of course, that's where you get that nice juxtaposition between the two of us on these podcasts.
That's the point. That's the point. You're the serious one and I'm the one that just fucks around.
Okay. Anyhow, the point being on this, I am going to try not to voice openly some of my beliefs on this story. I'd say people will have their own beliefs on this story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this is an oh dear God help us story. This comes from the Daily Mail and is by Sam McPhee and was written July 31st of 2022. And the article is entitled, Why Brutal COVID Lockdowns and Addictions to TikTok Are Driving Mystery Illnesses in Teenage Aussie Girls as Parents fear the worst over uncontrollable tics. Yeah. And
now, are some of them, like, doing them on purpose? Because, like, people do that. People get on, like, the mental illness side of TikTok.
Well, we'll find out.
And they just start doing it for attention. Because they think it's cute. They think it's trendy.
And that could be some of it, but let's see what Mr. McPhee has written here. He says that young women around Australia are being struck down by a mystery neurological illness, with experts fearing social media addiction and pandemic stress is triggering the problem. The Tourette's syndrome-like disorder is seeing teenagers suffering from uncontrollable tics, which include outbursts, twitching, pops, noises, swearing, kicking, and hitting. Doctors are also witnessing the phenomenon across the globe, where previously healthy young women have reported suddenly coming down with violent physical and verbal impulses. But what's causing the rapid increase in cases has parents and medical authorities baffled. One possible explanation is that anxiety and stress stemming from extended periods of isolation, coupled with obsessions for apps like TikTok, may have been the catalyst.
Yeah.
Now, you're a frequent TikToker.
I am. And TikTok does cause some issues, like depression and anxiety. But as far as like tics or like stuff like that, now, no, that's them faking it for attention and thinking that it's trendy or cute.
Or is it? Quote, this bright, spunky, fiercely independent young girl just trapped in her own body, in her own head. It's really hard to watch, end quote. Melissa told 60 Minutes of her daughter Metallica before the teen slaps her mother. That was for naming her Metallica.
Yeah!
Who does that?
How dare you for naming her Metallica?
Who does that? Metallica said lockdowns
I would rather hear someone call their baby Blue Ivy. Because that's pretty.
Metallica said lockdowns and not seeing my friends as much has worsened her tics. During the pandemic, her older sister Charlie also developed the same condition. Charlie said, quote, when she has her tics, I'll walk away so it doesn't set me off and make it worse for her, end quote. Their family have chosen to look at the two disorders positively, saying some of their tics are so absurd you can't help but laugh. But reality is much sadder. Well, if you're out in the middle of public and you're acting like that, or can get an assault charge, because if you hit a stranger, that's an assault charge.
I mean, that's when you get like a thing being like, hey, I have Tourette's.
That may work and that may not. It says both Metallica and Charlie require constant care, with both suffering extreme forms of the condition. There has been a steep increase in similarly reported cases through the pandemic, largely in teenage girls who can see symptoms appear as rapidly as overnight. Doctors remain in the dark about its cause, but many believe it is directly linked to the social consequences of lockdowns and the reliance on social media. Michaela began suffering from extreme tics when she was 14, coming on so fast her parents immediately took her to the hospital. Her mother said, quote, I was serving up dinner, I heard some noises and a yell and saw her lying on the floor. I thought she was having a massive anxiety attack. Next thing, an arm is flying and then a leg, end quote. That's not usually typical with an anxiety.
No.
Her mother further stated, she said she didn't mean to do that. It was really scary. Really, really scary, end quote. Michaela, now 16, was one of the first to suffer from the seemingly new condition, and many doctors were shocked and scared by her disorder. So, approximately 2 years ago is when this started for this kid. All right, the teenager was doing handstands, rolling on the ground, and even doing the splits, with her school constantly calling her parents to inform them of new tics.
She's faking!
And one of them said I was constantly on edge. I don't know whether that was the mother or the daughter. Well, no kidding. It says Nicole, a British 15-year-old, began suffering from her tics shortly before her 13th birthday, with minor facial twitches transforming into violent physical and verbal outbursts.
That's usually the age that the popular age of people that think it's cute, trendy, whatever, for mental illness.
Her mother said the most confronting of her tics is that she will commonly shout, I am Madeline McCain, I've been kidnapped, in public. Who is Madeline McCann? Or McCann is what it was.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Like many other cases, Nicole's tics came on during COVID when she was admittedly very lonely. And she told 60 Minutes, quote, I didn't know what to do with myself. You can't see friends or family. It wasn't a very nice thing to be in, end quote. Books.
Yeah.
Read books. And
watch Little Bear.
Professor Russell Dale, a pediatrics neurologist at Westmead Hospital, said he was hearing of girls all over the world suffering from similar conditions to the young women being brought to him. He said the first instance he saw the illness was in Michaela 2 years ago, and it was something different to anything he had witnessed before. It says, quote, there are violent movements hitting themselves, but also the vocalizations were different. Rather than simple noises, there were complicated sentences, which was quite bizarre. I've never seen that, end quote, he told the program. Professor Dale ruled out Tourette's as the cause for the epidemic, as it is found 4 times more often in boys and comes on slowly from a young age. He said the key factor appears to be the stresses of the pandemic combined with overt use of TikTok and other apps, which is forcing the young women's bodies to fail. And he further said, quote, girls across the world have been using similar phrases. It was that which made us think social media was a link as to what was going on, end quote.
Similar phrases? What were the phrases?
I don't know, about Madeline McCann or something like that. Somebody had to Google search who Madeline McCann is.
Now, there could have been, like, a thing on TikTok, like, because TikTok does that all the time, like, trending, like, about missing people or whatever, like, true crime stuff, but, like...
I don't know. It says the professor pointed out to the mimicking of TikTok videos showing tics being broadcast around the world, with 16-year-old Michaela admitting, I think I've called it something.
Michaela?
Every single time I've seen it. It's all right. Admitted seeing the clips had triggered her behavior and even seen her mirroring it. She has now fully recovered, with Professor Dale saying the disorder is definitely something that can be overcome, but admitted only 20% of his patients have kicked the condition. He estimates hundreds of thousands of girls around the world could be suffering with the same illness as a result of the perfect storm of the global pandemic. Okay, while I do believe in mass hysteria very much, because it reminded me of some of the things with the Salem witch trials, and we were discussing the other day about how young females have a tendency to mimic each other. Mm-hmm. There's a really good interview with Jordan Peterson and the lady that he was interviewing. I can't remember her name right now. About how this condition with young girls. If I can remember too, I will put a link to that article, or to the video rather. And she was, discussing this about young women, and that they have a tendency to do that. Because this was the pandemic, and because a lot of these people were in Australia and stuff, things that happened in 2020, and this is where I've got to really watch myself, because the AIs and the glowies and all that stuff be watching, okay, what were some of the methods? Just don't, do not answer. Okay, youngest kid, do not answer.
She saw me give her a look.
I did, because I knew he's getting ready to blurt something out. This is not the time nor the place to blurt. It's a matter of listening in between the words. Because when you've got experimental things that in some areas of the world that people were forced to do, that includes some of our parts of the world. And then you have bad shit happening.
Yeah.
There were people that have warned that bad shit is happening. In fact, CDC and stuff had recently said, you might want to think twice because this can cause bad shit.
Yeah.
And in the realm of David Icke and Alex Jones, I'm still going to put that Alex Jones was right sticker on your brother's car. I really am.
God.
As far as some of the things that have been injected into some people's bodies and things that could possibly activate some of those things. Now, we don't usually talk about some of this stuff because there's other channels and peoples that talk about it, and they have the means to show some of these things in depth, such as the clots that people are having removed from their body. Kid has slathered this stuff, and then I've had to take a coughing fit, so that thus the sudden clip. It's like she was talking.
I hope she puts that thing about the hands at the end of it as like a small blooper thing.
I don't
but
know.
She won't.
No, I get rid of those. But anyhow,
But it was funny.
Going back to the non-funny, where there have been coroners and stuff that have found some really disturbing things in people's bodies. Mm-hmm. And so, when you've got something that is called sudden adult death syndrome, And something I started to cover and then I decided not to because there was not. Things may correlate and they may just, because random really does happen. But several days ago in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is not that far from us and that we have gone to over the years, they have these chair lifts because it's like part ski resort. And this young woman, I think that she may have been like 20 or 22, something like that, removed the bar, stood up, and jumped.
She was suicidal.
Well, that's what people have said. And then a few days later, there was this airplane incident, and this 23-year-old guy that they're still trying to determine whether he was pushed out of the airplane or whether he jumped. The result was the same in both of them.
Yeah.
But it's like, for people to suddenly do that, I don't know that they mentioned anything about that ever happening down at Gatlinburg before.
No.
So, weird things. I figured when a lot of these things started, I thought we won't even begin to see things until 6 months to a year afterwards. We're just now beginning to see things. So, do I think that some of these conditions that these kids are going through could be caused by that? I think it's highly probable. Now, as far as females doing the mirroring thing, I know that happens a lot more when they are physically close to each other. They cluster. I didn't cluster. It was always weird. I didn't cluster. But that happens lots. But the fact, and maybe they are clustering online.
They do.
And that it's just a new. Have you heard of similar symptoms going on TikTok? Because I don't go there.
Why, yes. Why, yes. Yes, I have. Which ones do you want me to list? The one that barked like a dog, or the one that decided to almost put her head in a pot of whatever food she was cooking and then got exposed as a fake? She was faking Tourette's.
Tourette's people are not suicidal. They just have uncontrollable impulses and stuff because it's a neurological
But
condition.
those people who committed suicide. Sewer slide. AI.
We don't know.
Did they have any symptoms like that? I doubt it.
I don't know.
I doubt
it
it.
Just had, that those were just the incidents. I know that the people that had witnessed the one in Gatlinburg, including the first responders and stuff, they were just devastated.
Yeah, but I can tell you, more than likely, they were not experiencing the same thing that those girls that we talked about did. Because I can tell you right then, they're faking it.
I don't know that they were. Like I said, because these countries had people that I have seen things that were online that were just horrific. And we're not saying yay nor nay on this, because that's somebody's individual choice, but I do not believe anybody should force anybody else to do or not do something that's fucking experimental. And when you've got all these governments going, oh, do this, hell no, run the other way, quickly.
Yeah.
And as far as, that's what I was telling you about this swabbing thing. Because that's an area that is very delicate. And I was very adamant with my doctors. I'm like, hell no. First of all, I'm diabetic. That is a highly sensitive area. So
yes.
You are not sticking something up there to cause some kind of abrasions, because that's like me mainlining bacteria. Plus, it's been proven that the fibers from those damn things break off. Mm-hmm. This is way beyond conspiracy theory. This is not just tinfoil hat shit. So, but holding these kids down, there is a specific angle that you're supposed to do this with. And if you don't, then you can do some damage.
Yeah.
And people have done some damage.
Yeah.
But that one video of this parent basically had this kid in a fucking headlock.
Now that's abuse.
He is screaming, and she just keeps jabbing and digging that damn thing. And I'm thinking, that mother is a fucking sadist. And then to sit there and tell that kid, oh, I'm doing this for your good. What a fuck. That's all like, you know. But there have been I've heard of people having like cerebrospinal leaks. You know, just some really heinous stuff. So this very well could be like the witch trials, you know, the ones that was accusing people of being witches, because they did similar, that they would roll on the floor and foam with the mouth and do different things like that, and claim that they had been bewitched.
I mean, that's already been said that was coming already, like... Yeah.
As far as the witch trials?
Yeah, they're coming again.
We've been doing that. Honey, we've been going through that since 2016. For real.
Yeah, but they're actually going to be, like, possibly coming after witches, too, and such like that. Which,
well,
you know, that's up, but whatever.
It's who they determine are witches today, which is anybody who has different forms of thought, anybody who's on the outside of what current standards of society is.
Exactly, that's what I was trying to be like. It was just kind of like, that's not...
So, you know. But do I believe that this could be caused by something other than just the TikTok? And it very well could be the combination of the two, because when you watch anything, you've got frequency and vibration, because that is everything.
Watch Little Bear.
SpongeBob.
The original 4 seasons and the movie. The original 4 seasons and the movie. That's it. That's all you need to watch.
But this highly concerned me. And that was more scary than somebody, you know, some TikToker who's gotten famous because she's goth, she's pretty, and she's going to spooky spots. There's a million of them. It's been done before.
I am so tired of the people who are getting away on social media. They're getting all these followers just because they're fucking pretty. I am so tired of it. They're not putting any effort in their videos. They're not putting any effort in shit that they do, and yet they're just sliding by because they got a pretty face. I'm so tired of that.
That's the world. That is the world. It truly is.
I am so fucking over it.
It seems like that you've got those who try the hardest are not recognized for their efforts, and those who do little to nothing, and because that they're silly, especially in today's world, you know, this silliness, and not in a happy way, but we're talking about truly just vapid. Sex Pistols song, Pretty Vacant. Go back and you know.
There's this TikTok.
Johnny Rotten is actually fucking brilliant.
There was this TikTok of this woman. She was telling what happened to her day, and she was upset because she'd embarrassed the shit out of herself. The owner of the company came into work that day, and her boss was like, "Now please do not act weird," or anything like that. Guess what she says immediately as soon as she turns around and sees the guy who's like over 6 foot tall and she's like 5 foot something, like short.
Right.
She looks up at him and is like, "Holy shit, Lurch." Said that to the owner, and he just sort of looks down and says, "You're the psychotic one, right?" She looks and she's like, "Honestly, sir, I just prefer unmedicated."
You know what I would have done? It's like, oh, you're the one that's now unemployed.
He kept her, but it was just fucking funny.
And it's a good thing that he had a sense of humor, because a lot of people in the business world do not. Oh, time and a place for all things.
They should have a sense of humor.
No. Not necessarily.
No, they should. No matter what.
No, it depends on what you're doing. There's a time and a place for all things. And it just... I don't know.
He wasn't even coming in to talk to her. He was coming in to talk to her boss.
Well, I mean, if she was
Well, her
good at her
manager.
job and she wasn't having to deal with the public, and maybe she had one of those quirky jobs where, you know, she could get by with that shit. But most people, no.
I think it's an office job. But, like, she's really nice. She does her job, but she's just weird.
And then people wonder why they can't get
And
a
she's
job
funny.
or why they can't keep a job. I remember seeing that one chick that she had some kind of really out there look, and she had gone in and was trying to get employment with her out there look, and then was confused why she wasn't being hired. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but the last I had heard, I have not heard of that many Gen Zs developing large businesses that employ others. I'm not saying they're not there. I just haven't heard of them.
Because we're still young. Barely any of us.
You're not that young.
23.
That is not that young. Honey, there's other places in the world. Let me tell you something. By the time they 12, 13 years old, they're doing like...
Yeah, well, America doesn't exactly have that anymore as far as people being successful.
It is what you make of it. But it concerns me about these kids that are this young and having these type of issues. It concerns me because of the planetary alignment that we've got going on right now, because there was 3 different folks, 3 different astrologers that I have listened to over the past few days, and these were lengthy discussions. And these people are kind of concerned. It's not like panic. It's a matter of going, okay, this is here, this is, you know, yeah. But it's like if you were younger on some of this stuff, and I had problems with you. What do I do? It's like, you know, you tell kid, you set boundaries. Don't do this. Kid crosses boundaries, and teens are notorious for doing that. And as far as, I didn't get you a cell phone.
No.
So, and I did not. And as far as trying to limit what you used on the internet, because that was my responsibility as a parent. Now, after you turned 18, that's on you. You know, even as far as people suggesting, well, turn the internet off. And it's like, you know, why should I be punished because he's not willing to abide by the rules? So, you know, and it's like, ultimately, it's on you.
At one point, she was trying to limit my access to 2 hours a day.
Yeah. Yep. I was. And I stand by
And when
that.
you are homeschooled and you have no social interaction other than that, those 2 hours,
within that, you could have called somebody. I mean, as far as an actual telephone call,
I didn't want anybody knowing my phone number.
There were other things that you could have
You
done.
think I trusted people back then on the internet?
Rationalizing on some of this stuff. So, but as far as sitting on the computer, you could have been riding a bicycle then. You could have been rolling down the side of the mountain. There's a lot of things.
I didn't have a bicycle back then. I didn't have the money for a bicycle back then.
You could have gotten a bicycle.
With what?
This is one of the things I have noticed also of Gen Z. Excuses. And it's always somebody else's fault.
That's a genuine question. And I wasn't blaming anyone, but I'm like, with what?
Okay, you get job. This is how this usually works in the world. You get job. You develop a business. People pay you monies. Then you can purchase things with monies. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It still works that way.
Yes.
But sitting on the TikToks, before we get in a huge family argument here, I'd rather not record that. So, do I think that there's multiple factors going on here? I do. And it really does concern me.
I think they're doing it for attention. That's what I think they're doing.
They may be, because of that age group, but I'm just saying that there could be something more to that. And trying to speak without, and not passing judgment, for real. Because there were some of the people that had to, or felt that they had to, do the experimental thing. So there is no judgment. I know why I chose not to. Because I'm allergic to damn near everything on the planet anyhow, including whatever this lavender scented hand stuff that kid decided to smear on me.
But it feels so good.
But now I'm
feels
wheezing.
so good.
I'm wheezing more than I was.
It feels so good, and I put it on my feet too, and it's like, ooh, I hate the smell, but it feels so good.
So there was no way that I was going to do any of that stuff. I had researched it from the get-go, and it was just like, it wasn't for me. But and I pray for these families. But now this is the reality of the supernatural and paranormal that everybody is living in right now, whether they acknowledge it or not. And it's some scary shit. So if you have other paranormal, supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, local, regional, family, myths, or legends, send those to us. Email cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com.
Yes.
We do want people to comment, but just word it in a way where, the AIs and the,
Yes.
what can you say? The internet brown shirts don't come marching down your street. Yeah. Know that you're loved, and we'll pray one for another here.
And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, sniff, and...
It's the lavender.
What the fuck was the other part? I forgot now because I sniffed.
Subscribe.
Because sniff the like button. Sniff the subscribe button with all your might.
Don't be sniffing things.
Sniff the screen. Lick doorknobs.
So scratch and sniff. What if we did?
Scratch and sniff. Scratch and sniff stickers of screens.
What if people would do that if we said to? Not our audience, because
we need to make some scratch and sniff stickers. I want some scratch and sniff stickers.
This is banana flavored, scented bananas.
I want one that smells like a monkey.
That's nasty. It smells like food. Anyhow, know that you're loved.
Yes.
And we'll see you on the next cup.
Yes.
Bye.
Monkey, scratch and sniff sticker. Smells like shit. It smells like freshly flung shit.